and welcome to another episode of Frenchafullcircle. I am the host, mjfrencha, and today I am joined by two amazing people. We have Dr.Tammye Matthews on, and then we have a good friend, Jeremiah Ross, on as well. And so before we start every show, we like to do a breathing to center moment to open the space and to bring in positive energy into the space as well. So if Dr. Tammye, our fellow life coach, could lead us in that, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. So just make sure that you're seated comfortably. If you can, have your feet on the floor squarely. And if you are sitting on, carpet, just be in a comfortable position. You want to straighten up your spine. You want your neck to be forward. We're going to close our eyes and we're going to relax our hands on our thighs. And then we're going to take a deep breath in. And as we take a breath in, we're going to make sure that we are extending our stomachs out. And then we're going to exhale down, and then we're going to bring our stomachs in. So let's do it together, okay? So eyes closed, straight position. Everyone breathe in. Extend your stomach, extend it out. And then you're going to breathe out. That's pushing your stomach in and moving that carbon dioxide out. Breathe in. Think of something that you want to have, you want to attract. And then let's breathe out. Let's release whatever it is that no longer serves you. One more time, we're going to breathe in. Love, peace, joy, goodness, kindness. And then we're gonna exhale everything that no longer serves us. All right, we can open our eyes. Ooh, how does that feel?
Great.
Good.
And just like that, this is how we start every show. I'm joined by two amazing people. So if each one of you could just introduce yourselves, say what you all do.
I am Dr. Tammye Matthews. I am a registered naturopathic doctor, and I am a certified life coach. And my company is actually called Restored by Tammye. And our focus is on bringing together mind, body, spirit into harmony and into balance. So my major focus is helping people to find their rhythm, helping people to bring balance in their lives, and also to be able to break through any of those obstacles that are preventing them from going to their next level. So I have a vast variety of specialties.
My name is Jeremiah Ross. I am currently a junior in college. My major right now is English, but I plan on changing it into a more fitness-oriented major. Awesome. And what I want to do with that is basically help people not only improve themselves physically, but improve themselves mentally too. Because I feel like if you're confident physically with how you look, then everything else will follow suit. So that's mainly what I want to do with that.
Yes, and I'm so happy and proud of the both of you for the physical and also mental fitness journeys that you all have started. Another thing that we like to do to open the show is give a PIES check-in. So that's physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. So if each one of you could just give your PIES check-in. If you want, I'll even start physically. I feel good. I feel really good. I started my own health journey. And so I've been going to the gym. He's been helping me with my fitness as well. And yeah, I would say this is the best I felt in a very long time. Especially because I want to say when I started the podcast, I was at 250 pounds. That was like the heaviest I had ever been in my life. And so it was like that. And then mentally and then emotionally, it was kind of like a little roller coaster with that in itself. And so it was like after I went to Atlanta in September, I kind of started my own journey to releasing the weight and everything that comes with that. So yeah, I'm happy to say that I'm at 217. So
wow.
Yeah. So I'm just, I want to keep pushing forward to releasing more. And I just feel lighter mentally. I feel more, what's the word for it? I feel more focused. Like I have a clear focus of everything with that. So yeah, intellectually, I feel really inspired, especially since we just completed the Kundalini class together, me and Tammye. So yeah, I feel inspired. Emotionally, I feel good. Emotionally, I feel good. Like I said, what's the word for it?
More focus, clarity, mental clarity.
More mental clarity on everything. Just all around, I just feel more clarity with everything. I've been working because I've seen in the past sometimes that because like the Virgo moon and rising in me, because sometimes, what's the word for it? Overthink and take things personal with everyone in my life when things happen, that I was just acting off of emotion and not clearly thinking about everything, and not really like using the tools that I have to like
to manage all of that.
Exactly. So
yes, absolutely.
So yeah, I just emotionally I'm feeling great. And then spiritually I feel great as well. Recently I made the decision to quit my job. It was kind of like a hard decision, because it was one of those decisions where I'm like, okay, there are some things that I like about this job, but then there are also things the bad outweighs the good. And so I got a reading done, and one of the things she said was like, sometimes you might have to make the small sacrifice to achieve what you really want to do. And so today, a certain thing happened today that just assured me that making that decision was the best for me, and that I have a feeling that spirit has my back in all of this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've had to do it 3 times in the 11 years of starting my business. And when you make that jump, hey, you'll find that spirit is with you regardless of what portal you want to use in order to get your resources needed to carry out your passion. So it's not that job or that company, it's about you. So wherever you choose to go and create that. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Yes, I definitely feel the energy to conquer and just create the life that I want. So yeah, I'm excited for things to come. So yeah.
Awesome. Exciting. I wish I had so I just want to let everybody know I turned 51 on March 26th. So I'm not sure when this is gonna air, but thank you. Super excited about seeing 51, because I have people that I've gone to school with that due to sickness and disease, they didn't make it to 50. So I'm so grateful. But in that, just 10 years ago, just knowing that, you know, Spirit was calling me to go higher, even at a later age. I wish I had been in tune in my 20s, because I feel like at this age, I'd be so much further, but then I wouldn't have the wisdom, I don't think, in order to be able to help my millennials and my Generation Z. So it all balances out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to make my mistakes, you know, in order to be able to, you know, be here to say, okay, y'all, let me tell y'all, or to be able to encourage you and say, hey, do it. The Spirit's gonna always have you, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And it's so, you know what's so funny? It's so amazing because I had forgot that you're an Aries, but and it's so weird because you a lot of the times when I've spoken to you, you give me the energy of my grandmother. And it's so funny because my grandmother, her birthday, she would have been, today is her birthday, she would have been 80, 82, 83. And wow. So it's just crazy. And then it just reaffirms like how small the world is, but how like great my village is. And that's what I was saying too, like my grandmother's nickname was Moot, and it's just so crazy how Mama Moot is like a mother figure to me. So yeah, the universe conspires to give us everything we need, and when we learn to relax in that, then we don't stress, you know, causing us to sabotage all the great things ahead, because we sabotage things when we're fearful. Yeah.
When we truly believe that the universe has our back, that's when we soar, that's when we thrive. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got us all. I'm excited for you.
Fine, yeah.
So Jeremiah, I talk too much. You go ahead. I'll do my last.
We are physically, I feel like physically, I'm probably at a point where I've felt the best. Because I feel that way because I honestly just started my my little fitness regimens. I just started last year once COVID struck and people were stuck at home doing nothing. Mm-hmm. I feel like from that, like learning to discipline myself every day, and now that I'm actually seeing progress that I haven't seen throughout high school and college, so that's exciting too. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. And then intellectually, I feel a little bit, I guess, underserved with COVID and everything going on. It kind of makes it a little bit difficult to really participate in classes since everything is online. Yeah. But for the most part, I feel pretty good about that. Emotionally, I guess I feel pretty good too today. And spiritually, I feel in check too. I'm trying to, I guess, expand my spirituality as well too with my fitness, because I feel like those two come hand in hand depending on what you do, especially with yoga.
Oh yeah, I'm doing a lot of yoga too.
Are you? Oh, I love yoga.
Yeah, I just started like actually taking stretching and the breathing and everything. Like all of it is so, it's all for a reason. It all compacts together.
It really does. And that's like the best, like to me, bringing mind, body, spirit into harmony is that yoga. Oh.
Yeah, so that's good. Yeah.
So the topic of today's show is fitness and well-being and like the importance of having these things. And I wanted to do this episode because I see it that one of like the biggest issues that I've seen amongst the Black community is like health, fitness, well-being, mental health. It's been an issue that I've seen that a lot of people around me struggle with, as far as like diet and not necessarily having the proper tools and resources to go about being healthy. Also, Black and brown people, they live in food deserts and they don't necessarily have the access to these type of things, or like in school we weren't given the proper knowledge as far as like specifically for Black and brown people about health, about fitness, the importance of that. And also too, I feel that a lot of us take victim to the medical industry. We don't know and believe that our bodies are more powerful than we think they are. And so a lot of us have fallen victim to the medical industry, and then we end up going to these places to get like a quick fix of issues that we don't necessarily need to go to the medical industry for. So I wanted to do this episode to kind of like help bring awareness, give knowledge, community, and young people specifically, because I feel like a lot of us too suffer from lack of knowledge of health and herbs and things that we can use to heal our bodies. The first question I have is like, what to each one of you, what does it mean to just be healthy overall?
So for me, healthy is really kind of what Jeremiah was saying. It's about that mind, body, spirit connection, but it's about balance. It's not something that you just like a destination that you say, okay, boop, boop, I'm here, I'm healthy, now I can just coast. You know, it's a evolving thing based on kind of what's happening in your life. Sometimes we'll have some emotional things that are going on, and having the tools to be able to manage that and keep that balance is important. Sometimes there are some physical things that's happening, or sometimes we're physically strong and, you know, intellectually we may be a little, you know, so it's constantly being aware of your needs in order to be able to give yourself what you need to maintain that overall balance. That's what I think about. And that's what I strive for when I think of being healthy.
I completely agree. I've been telling my friends, working out every day and putting in that work kind of serves no purpose if you're still like unhappy, you know, or if you can't solve other issues about yourself. Like, I feel like that's what I'm trying to learn about myself too, like being able to discipline myself in the gym, but also discipline myself up here too, and to know, just to know myself more, you know? Yeah, that's absolutely true, because, you know, when I get up in the morning, because how you start is how you finish. When I get up in the morning and I make sure I have my water, I make sure I have like my juice or whatever I'm gonna have, then it's like I'm preparing my body for the gym. Like I can go. But, you know, if you get up in the morning and you want like heavy food, like pancakes and waffles, and, you know, you don't feel like going to the gym after that. You're like, you know. Exactly. So like, yeah. So like everything is connected. Like, and it affects your performance in the gym. So.
I completely agree with both of you. And like, just for me, like, I like what you said, balance. Knowing yourself in is also knowing yourself out. Like you guys said, having that balance, but also I feel like in order for me to be healthy is to like having discipline, but also treating my body well as well. Because I feel like for a long time, especially like within the last 3 years, because I was doing so much, it was like internally harming my body. And then because I didn't have the discipline, I was really just eating any and everything. Like if it tasted good, I was like, I'm gonna eat it. Like and it was like nonstop. Like there was no limit to it. Having that discipline and having that balance, and I've come to realize that also, like when you have that balance, you feel so much better about yourself, and you also like just feel more prepared and energized to like want to do the things that you want to do. So
absolutely true.
Next question. So going back to Black and Brown communities, so one of the biggest issues that I've seen in Black communities is health. On CDC.gov, it is reported that even though the death rate for African Americans has decreased by 25% in the last 17 years, a new analysis is showing that younger African Americans are living or dying from diseases typically found in white Americans at older ages. Why do you both believe we struggle with health?
I think Black and brown communities struggle with health mainly because of a lot of stuff that is and isn't offered to us, especially through like organizations and school programs. Because like you mentioned earlier, food, I don't ever recall food being like taught as like an actual thing that you need to learn about in school. Like food isn't looked at as something that could turn out to be bad, especially if it tastes good and it's the only thing that you are given as a kid and you grow up on. So I feel like a lot of stuff that's offered to Black and brown communities just isn't healthy at all. And a lot of healthy options are like way more expensive and just isn't in our stores in our communities, and we just don't see it.
Yeah, I agree. I think about, like, I'm a Generation Xer, so my parents are baby boomers, and they came from the South, and like they had gardens, where they grew their own food, and then like my mom cooked all the time. And fast food back then wasn't that many places. Like, you had a McDonald's, but that was just like a special occasion type thing, So we didn't have a lot of fast food restaurants back then. And I think that the money that the baby boomers had, they didn't really spend it like we spend now. Yeah, they saved and they cooked. And so I was what they call a latchkey kid. So my generation Xers, we were about going out there, getting the biggest houses and the biggest cars. And so we were so busy working that when we had our children had to kind of fend for themselves, or we're bringing them home fast food, because now we balling out. We can afford to eat out all the time and go get food all the time. And then also too, I think Generation Xers, we didn't have as many children as the baby boomers. So so the cost and things like that to eat out wasn't as bad. So it was convenient because we were working and hustling and trying to keep up with what we call the Joneses. And and don't nobody know where the Joneses are, but everybody wanted to have a big house and big cars. And so it sort of trickled down and sent the message to then, the millennials who are, you guys are millennials, right? You're millennials. So I call you all like fire, So with millennials, like, y'all don't have time to be we don't have time to be trying to hunt around everywhere. We're not going no hour to get no food. We got stuff to do, right? And we kind of supported that because that's what y'all saw with us. But the studies weren't out back then talking about how bad the food was. Everybody bring their children to McDonald's. That's just the place you bring your kids.
Literally.
Yeah, milk does a body good, like everybody should drink milk. So nobody was like really doing the work in the US. Now in other countries, they weren't doing all that. But here, the dairy industry, the meat industry, they were all in bed with the Food and Drug Administration. So then as, they continue to promote all of this rich food, which is what they kind of call the king's food back in the day, because only rich people could afford it, right? They start promoting it and allowing it to be available for, everyday middle class workers. So then we started getting the diseases that the rich people would get. And so I really feel like with Obama's administration, that's when the light turned on in regards to, wait a minute, y'all, this food is killing, it's killing our children. Yeah. Like the newest numbers, and you stated this actually, Rashawn, in the notes, like the newest numbers of diabetes is coming from the younger generations. And like high schoolers are on high blood pressure medication due to anxiety and stress, and all that's relative to food. So I think it's lack of knowledge. getting caught up in the microwave society, lack of education, like you all said. The education part wasn't there, the knowledge wasn't there. And then with conditioning, it's like, well, when I was young, if I went to the doctor and I got a shot, they always gave me a lollipop. And then we start associating rewards with sugar, and these are things that are a little bit challenging to break when that's what, what Jeremiah, I see a light bulb went off.
Yeah, I just made the connection. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And people don't think about that. Like when it starts off that small, it builds up into something of greater problem, and people don't really make that connection.
Absolutely true. Like I remember in college, like I learned about yogurt peanuts. So in order for me to study, I had to have these yogurt peanuts to keep my brain going so I could study. I wasn't a coffee drinker, but I liked like candy and stuff. So I created based on what I guess what I learned about what sugar would do for you at some point. Then, I brought that into college and adapted this thing of, let me make sure I get my snacks so I can study. Bad habits.
The brain is really powerful like that.
Yes. And sugar is like worse than cocaine. It activates the same part of the brain as cocaine. It's a drug.
That is very true. Oh my God. I agree with both points. And especially condition, because like you said, like for me, so there was a part of the time I lived with my grandmother, and my grandmother, she's from the South. She's from Texarkana, Texas. So I grew up.
Am I?
OMG, that's crazy.
That's where I was born.
Okay, yeah. My mom, she was born in Texas too. So, I grew up like my grandma, she used to cook. If it was a meat and she could cook it, she cooked it. So, like I grew up eating things that normally, I guess, people wouldn't eat. Like I grew up eating like pig's feet and pig ears, and so it was like a dish for us to like, always like eating meat or eating something like not healthy, but then I remember that my grandmother, she suffered from diabetes, and so like closer to the time she went to the nursing home, it like, what's the word for it? It got harder for her, like it was hard to try to get her to change her ways because she was already so stuck in eating.
Yeah.
She didn't see a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
because she wasn't taught the association of disease and food.
Yeah. And that was my thing too, is like a lot of the times, like looking back on it, I remember that a lot of the times, a lot of the stuff that I would eat, it was literally like based on like convenience. Like if it was right there and I could like, if it was like a corner store or like a 7-Eleven or like a McDonald's and I could like get like fast food that I could eat right at that moment. Like I would travel like 2 hours just to go to campus, and there was like a McDonald's, there was a gyro place, and they were all like within that vicinity of each other. So like I'm not really thinking about like a healthy option. I'm just thinking of like something to eat because I'm hungry and that's what I have a taste for. So just going to eat that, and then also like you said, like breaking habits, because I was one of those people that I really love dairy and I really love sugar, and then I had to realize that a lot of the health issues that I do have stems from me eating so much of these things because of that comfort and that convenience of it. And then also a lot of the factors too that I saw from people that I know and from me is that sometimes eating food was like an emotional crutch. Like
It's so easy to just eat.
Yeah, like if I was feeling down about something and I wanted to feel better, then I'm gonna eat something to, instantly relieve what I'm feeling.
Because that's what we were taught. When you feel bad, you go get ice cream. Ice cream makes it better, right? That's what we were taught.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
Wake up and then you wake up and you barely can breathe. Like,
right. Yes.
Like it was crazy, but yeah, I think that's one of the issues that we struggle with too, and also on the mental aspect too. A lot of the time, at least from my growing up, it was kind of taught that sometimes when you like if you're feeling depressed about something or sad about something, you don't really if you're trying to go seek help, at least in the Black community, it's kind of frowned upon, oh, you're going to see a therapist, or oh, you having emotional issues, why do you have these issues? And it's it goes beyond. Sometimes when parents, they would say oh, what do you have to be depressed about? You have a roof over your head, you have such and such, yada yada yada, and it's it goes beyond those variables. Yeah,
because there's so much emotional. It all affects each other. It all affects one another. I look at everything as I guess a pulley system. If one goes down, or if something, everything just affects each other. Everything's balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys, you triggered my thought about, our ancestors and, being slaves and having to endure so much emotional trauma. And those that survived it, then, they had to figure out how to keep going despite the trauma, right? Mm-hmm. So they weren't giving them therapists or whatever. And, they were pretty much told to suck it up and move through it, right? And so generationally, we've adopted that same mindset. I've seen some memes that are when a white person is disciplining their child and they're like, oh, Johnny, why did you throw the paper towel across the table? Mm-hmm. Whereas, a Black parent would say, you better go pick that up. I don't care why you get it up. You know what I mean? Because, over time, the perception is, well, like you said, Marshawn, you got it easy. You weren't in no cotton fields. You didn't have to walk a mile to go to school. So whatever your little issues are, you don't need no therapist for that, because that ain't nothing compared to what my grandmama. And that's not. They never learned how to manage their emotions and even how to express themselves. They never had an opportunity to learn self-love and self-acceptance. They just had to deal with it, what was given. And your generation has to cut that cycle. No, we need help. We need coaches. We need therapists. We need help. No, it stops here.
Yes.
And you know what? That's so funny that you say that, because I just so happened to be watching a reality show. It was on in the background as I was taking notes for something. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that this guy said, he was talking about the relationship with him and his son, and he was saying how in the Black community, it's when a child has issues with their parent and they express that to their parent takes it as them going against them. When he said it's actually an opportunity to break generational curses and break patterns.
But then the parents don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because they were never taught. So then when their kids are advanced enough to be able to articulate their feelings, then they're shutting them down because they don't know how to support that. which is why, you know, Master Force, we have coaches and things like that, so that we can teach the adults so they can be more supportive to their kids.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. And so that leads into my next question. Tammye, you have your holistic health, and Jeremiah, you have your fitness specifically. So like, as far as like clients, what are like some of the major issues that you see amongst your clients, or just amongst different communities as well, as far as health and fitness, etc.?
With my clients, I see that people, mainly what we've been talking about, people don't fully understand yet that everything is encompassed together. Like not just working out every day. Like you have to eat good, you have to mentally be 100%, you know, there. You have to, like, it's not just working out your muscles, you're working out a bunch of other things about yourself too. And I feel like that's what I try to get out to them as I talk to them. Like it's not just working out your muscles, it's a lot of other things too.
Yeah. And I see that clients, their mentality towards eating healthy or working out is as if it's an option, and not a priority.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, I'll fit in. Let's see. I got to go grocery store here. I got this with my friends here. I got that. Oh, Saturday morning, I'll fit it in. You know, it's like, no. This is how you stay fit. This is how you stay healthy. This is a daily decision. I mean, technically, we should be doing something every day. You know, you don't have to go hard every day, but one day maybe yoga, you know, one day you may be running, one day you doing weight training, whatever. But really, we should be doing something every day. Take a walk, you know. But being intentional with the foods, that's another thing. There's such a disconnect, which is why I started Restored by Tammye 11 years ago, because of my own health challenges in my 30s. With high blood pressure, high cholesterol, lymphedema, fibroids. Like my 30s, I was just getting sicker. And I learned the association of the foods that I was eating was causing me to have those issues, but also the people that was in my circle. And they affected my emotional balance. So everything, it was circular. Like we talked about, it was like the people I was around, you know, I was the type of person that my girlfriends call when they have problems. And when they have problems, I would sit on the phone and eat as I'm listening, because I would absorb their, their depression or their, you know, and then I never had time really for me. And working out, I just kind of tried to fit it in, you know. So my goal was to be able to put, you know, the statistic that you have from the CDC that shows heart disease is the #1 cause of death, you know, cancer, diabetes, that like those top 3 are called lifestyle illnesses, meaning that they're preventable and they are reversible, because it has to do with your lifestyle. It's nothing mysterious coming out the sky. It's about being stressed. Stress will kill you faster than disease. It's about your choices on a daily basis of what you're going to use as gas in your car, in your body. And then the lack of movement, you know, the lack of working that heart muscle, which is the motor of the body. You don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
Keeping the blood vessels clear, you know, you need exercise to help to push, you know, the lymph through the system to get rid of toxins. And, you know, you need the blood to be able to flow. And if you don't exercise, the oxygen is not getting throughout. Like everything is relative. So being able to educate our people and wake them up and to say, hey, don't wait until you have a heart attack, right? Or the stroke.
Yeah, don't
be scared.
I
gotta change my ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, be proactive. You don't have to have meat every meal.
And I had a habit of doing that because it was like, what was it? It was when my mother, she moved to Texas. And so I was like going back and forth, moving things from the apartment, and then also just eating badly. And it was
grabbing
like
what you can, and
exactly. And then it was like after that, it's like every so often I was like always in the hospital, like having like an asthma attack.
Oh,
so yeah, I would be like, okay, this is the wake up call that I needed. So I need to like get on the ball with my health. And so it would be like I would like do something a little bit and then just slowly revert back to what I was accustomed to until that next asthma attack happened. Like now it's like you said, mentally making the conscious decision to eat better, get more active. Also too important for young people to know, like a lot of the foods that we eat carry energies with them as well, like that affect our moods, and like a lot of the things that we watch sometimes, like everything is like energy. So it's like, you know, like as far as like low and high vibration things, a lot of those factors can like instantly just like affect like how we operate in the world. So I don't think a lot of people understand that part. And like you said too, Tammye, like a lot of people don't even understand that a lot of the diseases that we have is lifestyle, but also just like having like unsettled emotions in our body that just cause like these health issues within our bodies. If you could just like kind of like touch more on that and like what all that means for people.
Oh yeah. So there are what they call, there is a it's a cycle. It's like a destructive, it's a negative emotion, like destructive type cycle. So when we are experiencing negative emotions, which is like fear, bitterness, hatred, you know, those type of things, disappointment, rage, those affect certain organs of the body and will cause damage just by holding these negative emotions in your mind, directly correlated to your organs. So if you're walking around, for example, in fear and everything you're afraid, okay, COVID gonna fall from the sky, you know, oh my God, I'm afraid to get in my car because some, you know, so just, you know, eventually that has a wear and tear on your kidneys, just as an example. And then you're wondering why you're having problems. Holding those negative emotions will impact you emotionally. Bitterness has been clinically correlated to cancer. Those people who hold on to unforgiveness, what they have found is, I mean, they can be vegan, vegetarian, eat very little, whatever have you, but if you are holding on to bitterness, that negative energy can help to facilitate the cancer process. So, yeah, so the reason why you hear a lot of us coaches talk about carrying positive images in your mind is because the mind is so powerful. What you hold there, you create. So if you're holding sickness and disease, you're going to create a sick and diseased body.
I think I've heard of that before.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard of that process before. I've definitely heard that if you like think something every day, and if it's the first thing you think of when you wake up and when you go to bed, like you can literally almost manifest it, or you'll feel those symptoms from whatever you think is going on in your
head. Yeah. Law of attraction, universal law, like attracts like. So law of attraction is saying whatever you hold here, that's why yoga is so powerful too, because you are setting your intention in the start of class and you're holding on to what you want to attract during that class. The mind is so powerful. 80% of what you are manifesting it comes from your unconscious mind. So what it's been programmed. That's why it's so important to be aware of what we talked about earlier, conditioning. Sometimes we just do things robotically. If you're watching the news, if you listen to the radio all the time, like, you know, I have a spin class and they like to play Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion. I didn't even know who they were 3 years ago, but I moved down here to Atlanta and I just got hip. Okay, I'm hip now, Marshawn. And so I'm listening to these songs like, once upon a time, and you know, and I'm like, I don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, I barely even know what she's talking about, but you know, I've listened to the words. But my point is that just me being in a 45-minute cycle class for 5 days out of the week, like this stuff is in my head, and I'm like, you know.
Yeah.
So
I don't think people know that you could pick up stuff that easily just from being around it.
Yeah.
Yes. So you have to be aware, because you'll start, like, even with, you know, this gangster rap and stuff, and these young boys killing each other, you know, they listening to all this. And when I worked in Chicago public schools, I talked to the boys about it. I said, you know, y'all walk around with this music in your ears all the time. Do you think that influences, you know, your attitude and how you do things out in the world? And they were like, yeah. So if you listen to Killing, Bang, Bang, Shoot 'em Up, what you think?
Low vibration.
All day, every day.
That is very true. And that's so funny, because I remember I heard that Juice WRLD, one of the reasons that he even started doing drugs was because he heard it in a Future song, and he told Future, you know, he was the reason as to why he, you know, started doing codeine and all these type of drugs. And Future came out, and Future had even came out and said that he doesn't even do these drugs. He just says it in his music because he knows how it will sell. He knows that it's one of the things that will sell across in his music. So
that's powerful. That says something. I feel
it does. It does. That's why it's so important to be aware of your thoughts, because thoughts become things.
Yeah.
Thoughts become things. So if you think you can't or think you can, both, you're right. You're gonna manifest it. So, yeah. So that's why, you know, it's important. You know, I'll get up some mornings and I'll be like, man, I got a taste for, you know, I want biscuits, and, you know, I want like a really, you know, you like to say, I want a good breakfast. Mm-hmm. And then I have to stop and say, what's going on with you? Like, you know that's going to make you feel sluggish. You got a long day. Why do you want that? In some cases, it's because food is emotional. It's just that, you know, I'm ready to come home and see my family, my parents. I'm missing my parents. And food has been that connection, you know, growing up. Your mom would, you know, makes you biscuits and makes you, you know, stuff like that. Breakfast. So instead of just reacting and going out and eating that stuff, taking a few minutes in the morning, take a little meditation time, breathe into center, and saying, okay, what's the source of that? Okay, I'm missing home. So I need to schedule to come to Chicago. I need to see my parents, you know? So take that. So that's what that means, like doing that self-work and breaking that conditioning.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that too, I feel like a lot of young people, what's the word for it? Like, I feel like a lot of us, at least from my observation, we want these like healthy, like prosperous, like lifestyles and lives, but we're not willing to like fully put the energy to doing the things that it takes to get these things. And, and then I think also a lot of us too, sometimes, as far as like in mental health, I feel like a lot of us too feel like because we experience trauma or because we're in trauma, that trauma is the we feel like we have to move in purpose with trauma, and we have to stay in trauma to move with purpose. And I feel like it kind of like keeps us sometimes in like a victimhood mentality and it stops us from like fully moving forward.
That's good. Give me an example of that.
I had a friend, and he told me that he would just say like, oh, my parents, they did such and such to me as a child. And so this is the way, this is like kind of like the reason for like why I am what I am. And like I told him, I said, you have to, at some point eventually, you have to like work to forgive your parents and like, choose to move beyond, what happened to you. And his whole thing was like, and like I told him, I said they did, because I know he has like 4 or 5 other brothers and sisters, and I told him, I said, even though they have a lot of children, they may have never been given the tools to actually like move beyond they are at the time being. And so he was kind of like stuck in like this idea that like, oh, I get that part, but they're adults, they should know better, they should have known not to do certain things. And it's like, in a lot of ways I feel like some of us, we feel like, oh, because that was our trauma, that we have to hold on to it, and then that pushes us to like subconsciously acting out that trauma in ways that aren't for our best benefit.
And feeling justified.
Yeah.
Now, let me say this to you. In some cases, and not all, because I don't want to get in trouble with your audience. Okay, so I want y'all to chew on this. But the hormones that come up from holding negative thoughts can be addicting.
Yeah.
Right. So
I agree with that,
yeah. So for example, if I've been cheated on and I keep rehearsing, I've been cheated on, and it feeds something in you, and then it drives you. And some people are addicted to that feeling, that hormone that is actually, the brain is giving off every time you think of that negative experience. So they use that to drive them, right? But it's addicting. It's like a drug.
And they're not even aware of it.
And they're not aware of it. So then when you try to touch it, and Marshawn, you try to say, well, blah, 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 they get offended and they will lash out on you because they want to hold on to that. They don't want to heal.
Exactly what happens, yeah.
Some people like to be sick. Because of, they like the victim mentality. They like to be the victim. That makes them feel a certain way. Again, I don't want to get in trouble, but it's just being aware.
Yeah.
Some people enjoy the attention or whatever it brings them. But unfortunately, it's a faster deterioration of your overall health and wellness. And that's when you see people developing all of these different diseases as well. And as well as their attitudes are poor, they're bitter, they're angry, they look old faster and all of that, because they've been holding on to what their mom and daddy did 50 years ago.
Very true.
And so that actually leads into the next question I have is like, how can we as friends, partners, family, how can we go about best supporting and helping people break out of these cycles and patterns to create a healthier life?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
It's definitely not easy. I am still struggling with it today. calling myself out when I think certain things and when I do certain things, and I'm just like, wait, like that's not okay. Like I shouldn't do that, or I should work towards not doing that, or vice versa. Today I woke up and I just knew that I wasn't gonna work out today, and then I ended up working out because I kind of did what you said, Tammye, about like stopping and then asking yourself like, what's really going on here? And then I realized that I was falling back into how I used to be, and I was like, no, get up, work out today, you know, keep the regimen going. So I feel like people just need to, like I said, it's not easy. It won't be easy to uncondition yourself, especially if you've been conditioned your whole life to do something. So it won't be easy, but it starts somewhere with calling.
It does. And I think like the platform that you all are presenting right now is great, because at least it opens up the dialogue. Because one thing that I can say is that everybody is not ready. So you can't push it on people. In some areas, especially family, because family can be touchy. And it's harder to get through the family because family know you and they're like, oh yeah, okay, now you think you Jesus or whatever, you know, family, right? They like, oh, you got a revelation, man. You want to, and so I know, trust me. So in some cases, it's not saying anything. It's modeling it, and you know, people see you and they see how great you look and how you feel, and they see, you know, your energy and your aura, the peace that you have in some cases. And in some cases, you may have an opportunity, you may be in a, you know, COVID, hopefully we won't have to deal with that much longer, but you may be like in a coffee shop and you can be having some dialogue. And then, you know, what happens in coffee shops, you get more and more people engaged in the conversations. You know, what you're doing virtually on your platform, you know, Marshawn, is somebody's going to see this and they're going to sit down and go, and listen. So I think that anytime we have an opportunity to talk, because that's really kind of in the olden days, before all the television and movies and video games and all that stuff, they talked. Yeah. So being open to share your story with people, because truly, when we talk about purpose, and that's more of kind of like that spiritual connection, we all were created for a purpose. We may not, you know what it is right away. Yeah. But there are people who are called to you that before you even realize what it was you wanted to do, there are these people that are going to naturally gravitate to you for the answers. Because everybody I can't reach everybody, you know. Different people gravitate to different people. So it's being ready and being prepared. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be there. With some people, they just want to hear your story and hear kind of like, oh, well, how did you, you know, you didn't feel like going to the gym, you know, Jeremiah. So what did you do to like get to the gym? Like, that's huge. And you say, well, you know, I sat there for a second, I did this or whatever, and you just help somebody, you know? So I think more dialogue, more conversations, more platforms like this, not being afraid to share our stories. Because that was something that, like, in the era I grew up in, like, you kept secrets. You never tell your business.
Yes.
You know, you never share. And, you know, I've broken that. Like, no, people need help. People need to hear real life people, real stories. You know, I broke through that. But we need more people to do that. That makes sense.
And also, as far as like, you know, supporting people.
Collaborations,
yes. But also, like you said, sharing your stories. And also, I feel like sometimes when some people are afraid to be supported or helped because they fear that there's a judgment behind it. And so I kind of like had to like, there's an instance a few months ago where I had a client, and she was telling me that she wanted to, you know, change her life and be, she wanted to get a sense of freedom for herself, but also be a positive embodiment for her daughter.
Yeah.
And that was like you said, when certain people aren't ready. So it was like after a few sessions, I saw that she just wasn't ready. And so I had to like sit back and stop myself, like, you know, she's not ready for the process. Like, why am I so upset with her not being ready for this process? But it's perfectly fine for people to not be ready for the process. It's just a part of their journey that they have to go through certain things to, you know, break out of certain cycles. And also too, sharing, you know, being able to be vulnerable about, I guess, and also giving people the space to be vulnerable about the things that stop them from getting their goals. Because I can remember, like, for me, I can remember just for me, from my experience growing up, like, a lot of the reasons why I just didn't, like, I feel like from a young age, I was always like looking for like the quick way to like get to like achieve the overall goal of like health and fitness and like looking a certain way and stuff like that, and really have to sit down and understand like a lot of the insecurities I had with just like my physical appearance and like emotional, like what that did to me growing up. So then I'm just like, okay, well, I want this, but I keep taking quick routes and ways to like get to that, and I'm not really sitting down and like understanding like how my insecurities affect how I operate and like friendships, the inner relationship with myself, relationships, workplace, like it really like all plays a factor. So I have to like, you know, like I'm thankful that I have people in my circle who, you know, allow me to like express to them like, okay, this is why I'm feeling this way. And then this kind of stems from like where a lot of my actions stem from, is like just those insecurities that I really wasn't like able to deal with. And so it goes back into what we were saying about victimization. So a lot of the times I was like victimizing myself, and I would be like, this person did this to me, this person did this to me, and so I'm holding on to that. And like you said, like there's something with it, like when you feel like you've been wronged, or someone has wronged you or betrayed you or something like that, it motivates you in the wrong way to act out of what is normal to you. So I was just doing crazy things, like
that's ego.
Ego. The ego in me was like, just like, do this, get a reaction, do this, move it, you know, do this. Like, okay, you feel good in that instant, but you still feel like shit in the end run. So it's like you just move in with like this ego mindset, and then a few moments down the line, you wonder like, dang, I was so stuck in trying to like operating from ego that it stopped me from, you know, moving in the direction that I really wanted to move in. And so really like having to sit down and like break down what was going on with me, and also just asking the universe for guidance and help. Like literally I just asked like, can I need some form of guidance. I don't know how you're gonna send it to me. And literally it literally trickled. It was like a trickle down. Like it literally started to like help me to like break down and like fully move with purpose and what I really want to do, and like, you know, just be better overall mentally for myself, and to help me be of service to other people around me. And
that's good. Yes, that is. victim of that too. The same thing, ego. And then you look up and you go, I'm not even getting any benefits from this. I love that. Yeah. And then you realize, I think it took me a long time to really believe that the universe does conspire for my good. You know what I mean? Like, it took me a while to believe that. And I think, you know, in some cases, again, I don't want to get in trouble, but
it's perfectly fine. Speak as free as you want.
But, you know, like the church conditions you, like there's this heaven, hell, the devil, the angel, and then you get caught up in all that, and then you start condemning yourself, and then it's just too much. It's like, okay, I have this journey, and I'm gonna have experiences. There's no right or wrong. There's no duality. We teach that. It just is. And we get to choose the path in the direction you want to go. We get to choose what we want to learn on our own or what we want to learn from other people's experiences. But it's all going to turn out okay at the end, as long as your intentions are pure. You know, your desire is to help people. Your desire is to live your life in purpose. So, whatever that is, it's the universe is gonna give you what you need. And so when you truly believe that, you don't walk in fear, and not to say you're just gonna be perfect, but you begin to truly believe, you know what, I feel this energy that I need to go in this direction, and I'm gonna, and it may not always be good experiences, of course, but you got them, because then that helps you to help somebody else. Because, you can't teach from a textbook. You can't tell me, you can't help me if you haven't gone through nothing, But know that you went through those things for a reason. That has helped you to be stronger and wiser. And then you go on. We have cycles. We have seasons. You have mountaintops, you have valleys. The valleys is when you're in the learning phase. The mountaintops is when you celebrate. But those are just the cycles of life for all of us. So don't get stuck in the valley thinking that, oh, I'm going to hell. Oh, this happened to me because I cheated on my taxes. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to get out of that. No, this is your journey. This is for you to learn. And now that you've gotten the lessons and you keep working with yourself, you keep loving yourself, then, the mountaintops come where you're celebrating your wins. You know what I mean? So changing the mindset and connecting it to the spirit and the body is going to help us to overall enjoy this life, because it's good. It's a lot going on, but you create your reality. All that extra stuff like this has nothing to do with my peaceful life. Those are choices that they've made. I'm not here to condemn, but I don't want to be caught in it. This is what I want right here.
That leads to the next question. What resources would you all recommend for people as far as nutrition, health, mental well-being, sex? It doesn't matter, any of those things. What resources would you all recommend for people?
Go ahead, Jeremiah.
I would recommend that people, for health and body, I would recommend people try to find, a lot of people find a good YouTuber or someone that they, like you were talking about earlier, somebody that they gravitate towards and have had similar challenges with. I feel like that would be a good resource for them to use.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody out there that you can connect to.
Yeah, and you're gonna attract them anyway. Because like Marsha say, universe, I need help in my core. you know, and you look up and something just popped up in social media and you're like, oh, who is this? You know,
Yeah.
That's how the universe operates. Like, it's simple. I mean, it sounds simple, Marsha, but you were like, I just asked the universe, you know? And I'm like, yes, we make this so complicated and it don't have to be.
Yeah, that's so true, because like I was saying, like I asked the universe, and like even though it didn't happen, like because I know sometimes for me, especially like ever since discovering that I'm a witch,
Yeah.
I'd be like looking for like instant things to happen, and I was like, no, things take time. And you have to trust that it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen.
That's right. Trust in the process.
Trust in the process. So yeah.
Absolutely. And being able to rest in that. Like,
yeah.
You know, like I put it out there and I don't have to think about it because I put it out there. Now I got to keep doing what it is that I know I'm supposed to be doing because I know it's going to come around at the right time. Mm-hmm. Learning how to do that, I'm telling y'all, it will. I wish I had known this in my 20s. But it is so much easier to live like that instead of holding on to anxiety like, oh, how I'm going to get this bill paid or how I'm going to do that. No, you tell the universe, I need $5,000 a month to be able to run this. So I need you to show me how to be able to do that. And it'll come in different ways, but stressing and worrying is not going to attract it at all.
It's gonna harm you more than help you.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, because it affects your health and wellness, and it's that blockage, you know, because that fear and all that you put out in the universe, you're gonna attract more fearful things, you know. So, well, I have like this journal. I'm big on like to have like a journal. You probably like this, Jeremiah, because something that'll tell you like. One day it says, pump that iron. Iron helps carry oxygen to parts of your body in the form of hemoglobin. Not having enough can lead to iron deficiency and symptoms such as weakness and fatigue. So like, you know, it's giving you like, okay, grow your muscles, save time. Yeah. You know, like stuff like that to help motivate you to go to the gym and to do your weight training. And so I attracted this journal because I need to do more weight training. I do a lot of cardio, but you know, the older you get, you know, your muscle mass starts deteriorating. So it's really important for older people to get into, you know, weight training. And so like getting a good journal, but also Dr. Laila Africa is one of my mentors that I had gone through his course to become a certified holistic health consultant. He has a book that's called Holistic Self-Diagnosis, where you can literally like go through and learn your body and say, okay, if my tongue look like this, or okay, if my fingers look like this, then if my feet got this is what's going on. So you learn your own body, right? Yeah, that's a good one. This sister, Tracy Lynn McWhirter, she wrote a book called By Any Means Necessary. And this is just teaching you about the importance of having, you know, green foods in your diet. And I know we talked about food deserts and things like that, but now, you know, you can get tower gardens and things like that. When I was living in Chicago in Woodlawn, I had a tower garden on my little balcony, you know, where I grew like my lettuce and my tomatoes. So like there are a lot of options now, but you know, being able to eat greens, you know, every day is like huge. I'm a big kale girl because that's protein. Yeah. Because I don't eat meat and I don't eat dairy. This one is good. I know you've heard of this one, Daniel Reed, The Tao of Health, Sex, and Longevity. And with this, you know, we haven't been taught, again, this gets back to religion. We've only been told, you know, have sex within marriage, but we never taught anything else. But the purpose, you know, of sex is a creation activity, you know, and it has to do with generating your spirit or creating something, you know, affirmations, what we learned in Kundalini, you know, the affirmations and things like that. But it's a creation activity. You're creating something. So you want to be intentional and you want to understand that you want to keep your body well because you want to have sex as long as you're on this earth, because you need to be able to stimulate hormones to stay healthy. So like this kind of gives a little bit more information. So that's one of my resources. And then the last one I want to show is Eating Right for Your Type. Know your blood type, because there's power in the blood. And literally this book tells you, based on your blood type, the foods that are considered healing to your body and the foods that are considered toxic to your body. In every category, meat, dairy, fruits, veggies, it's gonna tell you. And I learned about this when I had embarked on my vegan diet and on my vegan lifestyle. And I had started developing like these spots on my faces that I had never gotten, and like these boils on my legs I had never gotten. And I was like, why? Because I'm eating better than I had ever eaten. And this is the vegan lifestyle is the lifestyle I chose to heal myself 11 years ago. I'm not vegan now, but I eat mostly vegan. But in that, I found that I was eating the things that I was eating every day, which was melons, I think coconuts, and avocados. Those were on my avoid list. So I pulled those out to see if that would affect, and everything cleared up, and I never got the boils again. Wow. So it's knowing your blood type and what foods are good and what foods are causing possibly some issues in your body. And you get to, again, do your own self-experiment. You ain't got to go to the doctor every time you're feeling a, pain. Figure out the source of it and see. It may be something maybe it's something like gluten. I'm an O, so we don't do well with gluten. And I'm eating oatmeal thinking, oh, I'm doing something. Well, O's, that's like putting bad gas in the car. So I started buying oatmeal without gluten. You see what I'm saying? So that I can have a better response. So just as an example of just learning your own body. So if you do ever have to go to the doctor, you can say, okay, I did this. I need you to run a test because I need to be able to figure out blah, 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 blah. So I know what to do when I go home, So I think that's all I got for tonight.
What is that book called?
The last one, Eat Right for Your Type by Dr. Peter D'Adamo. And if you Google it, I think he even has like some lists on there too.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, so I live by this.
Yeah.
Even have it, like they have a smaller, like I have a big one because I used to do people's blood types and all that and everything, but they even have the smaller ones that's just for your particular blood type. You don't have to get the big book.
I have like 3 resources. So one of the books, we talk about the subconscious mind, and this is one of the resources that Mama Moot had put me on to, was The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Ooh, yeah.
By Joseph Murphy. And this is a great book just to like train your subconscious mind and like we said, law of manifestation, law of attraction, and stuff like that. So
yes.
This is one
I need to get that one because that is a good book.
Another book that I started reading, it's called it's Mastering the 4 Essential Trusts. Trust in self, trust in God, trust in others, and trust in life. And it's by Iyanla Vanzant. And so, yeah, this is such a good book because I think that was one of my biggest issues, especially growing up until now, is like when things didn't work out the way I wanted it to, it like settled in that idea of like self-doubt and like, things not playing, this is what I want. So why am I not getting what I want? And then like you said, like trusting the process and trusting that if you do want something, you just have to trust that it will eventually happen. And like someone said, like not everything is personal, not everything is permanent. So whatever may be now, it just may be that's what it is now, and down the line, the energy will eventually open up to allow you to get what you do want. Another book that I actually saw an interview with her talking about this, but it's called Anatomy of the Spirit. 7 7 Stages of Power and Healing, and it's by Carolyn Miss. Like, just hearing her talk about the book and like just like letting go. It, for me, watching her talk about it was like letting go like certain like religious ideas and letting go of certain things to help you fully come into your power to heal and move forward. So,
I like that.
Yeah,
Carolyn,
we are coming to a close very soon. For your list, say like what could people take away from today's conversation?
I would say it's very important to create a spiritual practice. That's I didn't talk a lot about that, but to have, but Marshawn, you talk more about it. But to have sort of that time to sit down and reflect and say, and assess what's going on. I need this. I need more, I need a download about this. Like, that's to me, your spiritual practice, like being intentional. And like kind of what Jeremiah was talking about, like, you know, you're getting up and you're like, oh, I really don't want to go to the gym, but then, okay, well, why don't I want to go to the gym? Like having that time to just breathe and just reflect and connect with source and be able to just glide through your day. When you have a spiritual practice, it's like everything just goes so smooth. My big platform is detoxing. Like finding a time in order to change the brain, you really have to kind of disconnect from TV and social media, all the noise, and just, you know, have that time away from people and places and really be intentional. Have your sage and your candles and have your fresh foods and your water and your books, and just have some days to just be you. Just do you, you know? And that too, you know, that self-love, always being aware of your needs and giving yourself what you need. You know, some days you do need to take a mental health day, you know, and allowing yourself to say, you know what, I need to unplug today because I am feeling however way I'm feeling, and I need to give myself some more love in this area, you know. I think those are the 3 takeaways for me.
I would hope people take away the message of not, what was the word? The message, the victim, the message for not letting yourself fall too deep in the victim spot.
Yeah.
Because that's really easy to do, and it's really hard to pinpoint that that's where you are, or it's hard to call that out about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Hold yourself accountable, be able to say, this hurt me and I need to deal with this so I can better myself.
Yes. I love that.
In any way or form. And I would also want people to take away what you said earlier, Tammye, about the analogy about the valleys and the mountaintops. I would want people to know that it's okay, or you're not always going to be at the bottom. Vice versa, you're not always going to be at the mountaintop either. It's a constant slope throughout life. There is no set right path. Go in your own direction.
Be free.
For me, one of the things I would hope someone takes away from tonight is to not be afraid to fully hold yourself accountable, but also advocate for yourself. But that was one of my issues as well. Like, and I've just begun to like unpack it and break it down. But a lot of the times things would happen and then I would kind of like just like fall into place with what was happening, like specifically like with my job. Like, you know, there would be things that would happen at my job and then I really wouldn't say anything on it. And so then, you know, my job is, they're wondering like, oh, Marshawn, like what's going on? And I'm not really speaking up for myself or, you know, fully advocating for who I am and what I want to do. And so that was one of the things, that's been one of the things that I've had to learn to break down. It's like advocating for myself. Like you said, Tammye, understanding your needs and like fully understanding your emotions and stuff like that, because I've had the tendency in the past, like, to let situations and people and things like walk over me, and like then I'm left, you know, hurt when I should have just fully advocated for myself and who I am. Those are my takeaways. And so if someone needed help right now or needed assistance, what would you all recommend? Or how could
well, I would you know, I'm found on all the social media platforms, so I would just tell them to reach out to me on any of the social media platforms, whatever's easiest. And I try to check my inboxes several times, you know, a day, and I'll be happy to help support, you know. You know, it is a company, so I do have a fee. However, I'll definitely, especially if they mention your podcast, Marshawn, I would give them a free consultation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same here. I think I'm on pretty much all of the social medias, and I too don't have any problems with helping anybody in need. Just send me a message if you want any type of fitness information or nutritional help or anything that I feel like I can provide my knowledge on.
What are you both currently contributing to life right now?
Gosh. Well, right after this, in about 40 minutes, because it's 8:19 in Atlanta. Every Wednesday, actually, since the start of COVID, I have something called Frenchafullcircle Wednesdays. It's a mental health platform. And so it's an opportunity for people to be able to come on Wednesday nights. And it's generally 8 Central Standard Time, 9 Eastern Time, for about an hour and a half. And we just kind of talk about what's going on. I created it based on those of us who lived alone and we were in quarantine, and I was seeing the suicide rates for Black Americans increasing, especially a couple of sisters who were in California, and they were on like pretty popular shows around their 40s, late 30s, and they had committed suicide. And so I said, I gotta create something. So if there's someone who needs to talk, that they can always come in on a Wednesday, sit on your couch, get your wine, your coffee, your water, and let's just have a conversation about whatever, you know. So that's one of the things that I'm doing. Also, you know, I'm always in the community working one way or the other. So attending community events and things like that. You know, down here, our stuff has opened up a little bit faster than Chicago. So we are having community events and things like that, and just spreading the word and talking to people and educating them on, I like to call self-mastery. You know, dare to master yourself. You know, you spend a lot of time mastering your job and your relationships and all of that, but when do you actually take the time out to master, you know, yourself? So those are just ways that I'm moving right now, and hopefully more opportunities. Oh, I do Holistic Thursdays. So for those who follow me on Facebook, Holistic Thursdays, I'm just talking about every week is a different condition to educate our community on what it means to have, you know, heart disease and how to prevent it and how to reverse it. So those are some of the things I'm doing.
What I've been trying to do is I'm working on getting my own my fitness organization going. I'm working on getting a website up and running. I'm working on getting certified to become a personal trainer and actually hold like fitness groups at gyms and stuff like that. But as far as right now, I try to post as much as I can of me working out, because people are messaging me a lot saying that I inspire them to get up and get moving. So I just try to keep inspiring people for now. And a lot of people know that they can, or a lot of people message me and ask me questions on their fitness goals and stuff like that. And I guess I'm kind of training them a little bit because I give them tips. So I'm just basically just working on that so I can get.
You got to start your YouTube channel, Jeremiah.
Yes, I definitely have to.
He does. He really does.
He does. He does.
Really
Yeah, I can see that. That's good.
Thank you. So that concludes today's episode. I want to thank both of you guys again for coming on to my platform and just like lending your knowledge and your wisdom. I'm very grateful for the both of you, and like just I appreciate that you all came on today and spoke on. So yeah, any last
words? Thank you. No, I do. I want to say thank you, Marshawn, because I was here in the beginning when you started.
Yeah, you were on the very first episode. Yeah,
I sure was. I was like so honored, and I'm still honored. And anytime you want me to come on, we can be talking about relationships, whatever, mental health, whatever. Just let me know. Say the word. I'm here.
Okay.
And very nice meeting you, Jeremiah. It's been a joy. I want to definitely follow you. So
yeah, it was nice meeting you too. I've heard so many good things about you, and they proved to be true.
Oh, thank you so much. And you can always reach out to me anytime. Okay. Okay.
Yes, I like I said, I am thankful to both of you for just coming on, lending your knowledge, and taking time out of your day to like sit here and like have this discussion. So yeah, I want to thank the viewing audience for whoever eventually ends up watching this and wants to get some form of inspiring information or just wants to go about changing your life for the better. And I hope this can be the catalyst to get you to go about making the changes in your life to becoming your best self.
Yes, absolutely.
That concludes tonight's show. Until next time, have a good night, eat a good meal, get some good rest, enjoy your night, and we will see you on the next episode of Frenchafullcircle. I am signing off tonight. Have a good one, everyone, and peace and blessings.